Hi, my name is Mike Leach and I'm the GIS Program Coordinator at ESA. I wanted to demonstrate a web-based mapping service and tool that we believe would be an effective way of sharing information about the Hood Canal Integrated Watershed Management Plan and in-lieu fee mitigation program with your stakeholders and partners. This tool uses ArcGIS Explorer Online and the Microsoft Silverlight API and can be easily accessed from your existing web page. For this demonstration, we've included 8 layers in the table of contents. These layers are representative of the types of information that are highly relevant to the IWMP and ILF projects. There's also several base maps that we can switch between at any time. You can select between aerial imagery, roads, and topographic information. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll be using the Bing Maps Hybrid as our base map. So we can start by displaying the Hood Canal watershed boundary. And if I double click on the layer and the legend, you'll see that it zooms to that extent. We know the Hood Canal watershed boundary is divided into multiple assessment units and sub-watersheds. We can also bring in ecology's watershed characterization results for water flow to show the relative importance of these sub-watersheds for protection and restoration. The legend also shows what those colors represent. If we click on one of these sub-watersheds, it brings up the attribute information about that area. You'll notice that the Department of Ecology's restoration and protection categories are explained, along with the matrix that shows how the rating is derived based on the levels of importance and levels of impairment. If you click on the matrix, you can also find out more information about the Watershed Characterization Project on Ecology's website. If we wanted to get a better sense of the nearshore environment within the project area, we can use something called spatial bookmarks. Spatial bookmarks like these that you see here allow the user to be able to zoom in quickly to any given area in the project. In this example, if we wanted to take a closer look at the drift cells, for example, we can see here the various drift cell components. And if I click on one of the drift cells in the map, I can see that this drift cell has a right to left facing the shore drift cell direction. Let's say we wanted to take a look at another area in the nearshore environment, and so we'll do this by using the spatial bookmarks again to zoom into the Duckabush estuary, which may be a high priority receiving site for mitigation or conservation. At this location, we can explore some key features such as eelgrass coverage, as well as the spit marsh and stream delta complexes. Here in the legend, you can see that the various categories represent for eelgrass absent, continuous, and patchy. And if I click on the eelgrass bed in the Duckabush estuary, we'll see that this is a continuous eelgrass bed. However, if we zoom out to a little bit further extent, we can see that this continuous eelgrass bed changes from continuous to patchy and in some places absent. There's also other information that can be conveyed, like the spit marsh complex here above the Black Point Peninsula. You can see with this type of application that we can easily build in information related to any of your conservation priorities. Let's go back to the Duckabush estuary now, and I'm going to use my spatial bookmarks again to zoom back into that extent. And let's say you wanted to develop a conceptual design for this site to document the planned mitigation activities. What we can do is we can pull up any of the design drawings so that stakeholders can see what is proposed. In addition to that, if you wanted to be able to see the potential credits available, you can access the ledger to get all the details of the credit-debit transaction. This is just one example. Another feature of this site that can be easily customized is something called the dashboard. And I'm going to zoom out to the extent of the Hood Canal watershed to be able to show an example of this. The dashboard is something that provides spatial and summary statistics related to the data that's included in the project and can be based on one or more fields in the layer. In this example, we use the percent forest for each subbasin based on the forest categories from the NOAA CCAP land cover data set. If we click on a subbasin, The percent forest cover is represented for each subbasin as a gauge. There's also a comparison gauge, so if we wanted to compare one basin to another, like this, in the example here, between the Big Quilcene River and the Little Quilcene River, we can see there's a 10% difference in forest cover by subbasin. We can simply hover over any of the other basins to compare one basin to another based on forest cover. This is just one example of how we can create spatial statistics and represent geospatial information in the form of graphs and charts. This would allow stakeholders to track progress towards your goals for the IWMP focal components like forest cover. As you can see, ESA could easily support you in developing a web-based system that could be a great asset to those involved and interested in the ILF program and IWMP. We have built time for this in our budget and can develop this with you in a cost-effective manner. We think a tool like this is very compatible with open standards type approach that promotes information sharing and adaptive management and would help generate interest in support for the Integrated Watershed Management Plan and in lieu fee programs. Thank you for your time.